right now on News Nation Live. From D.C. to the border, lawmakers head to Arizona to take on the drug smuggling crisis at the source. Plus, a News Nation exclusive, human smuggling assembly line.
They don't know what they're up against.
A rare look at the Mexico side of the southern border wall as migrants climb the wall into America. Plus, saving face. Facial recognition software leads to a wrongful arrest and a lawsuit. Is this technology working? And drugs like Ozempic surge in popularity for weight loss, but do they actually work?
For every positive, effect you have, you're going to probably have a negative effect.
News Nation Live starts now. Good morning on this Tuesday. I'm Nick Smith. Thank you for joining us. Breaking news at the top of this hour centered on the race for the 2024 GOP nomination. More staff shakeups within the DeSantis team. The team for Florida governor and Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis announced this morning they have replaced a campaign manager. It's the latest and biggest shakeup among the team. This comes just 2 weeks after we previously reported that several other staffers were laid off. And more breaking news out of South Florida on that astonishing discovery of about 36 vehicles submerged in a lake near the Miami International Airport. Now, divers are working on missing person cold cases, found those vehicles at the bottom of that lake, and it could be tied to something larger. Our Xavier Walton is following it all for us right now and joins us live from Miami with the latest. Xavier, what are you hearing on the ground?
Well, Nick, crews have been out here working for hours now, searching methodically. This is a methodical process. Divers are in the water now. We actually just saw some bubbles come up. We believe that may either be a diver that was underwater or a car possibly coming to the surface. I'm going to have you pan over to the left, and you can see some orange markers. So those are what we believe the cars are. They were marked here over the weekend. What they're going to do, they're going to bring the cars up, and then they're going to take them over to this area over here. And once they do that, this is what it's going to look like. They already got the first car out of the water, out of the lake. Police believe that most of these cars have been here. If you look at this one, have been here for quite some time. I asked if any of these cars were connected to, say, any crimes or possibly a missing persons case in South Florida. The officer I spoke with said that's why they are here. That's why they are, recovering these cars, these vehicles. Once they get them out of the water, they're going to get the VIN numbers and then see who the car belongs to, but also see if anything suspicious actually comes up. So not exactly sure how long this is going to take, how long the process it is. But there are less than 10 cars, I'm told, in this specific part of the lake. They're going to remove those cars. And once they remove those cars, they're going to try and figure out how they got here, why they're here, and who they belong to as well.
Xavier,
Nick?
Even as we look at the video that you showed us there of that car being pulled out, it looks like a late 70s, early 80s model. So clearly it has been there a while, and that helps to deepen this mystery. Xavier Walton, thank you so much. Now to the border, where this crowd of migrants was caught trying to enter the U.S. They had to be pushed back by Border Patrol agents in riot gear. We're told that they reportedly heard rumors from cartels that asylum seekers would be allowed into the U.S., which is not true. But it comes hours before two House Republicans will hold a field hearing in Arizona to highlight illegal immigration and drug smuggling. Our Jorge Ventura joins us live now with the very latest. Jorge, seeing scenes like that is both uncomfortable for those who are just trying to seek asylum, and also it puts our Border Patrol agents at risk.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. And later today, House Republicans will be hosting another hearing on the border in Sierra Vista, Arizona. It's about 90 minutes away from Tucson, near the U.S.-Mexico border, that Tucson area known for drug trafficking and a popular spot for illegal crossings for migrants. Now, News Nation has been covering the human smuggling assembly lines in that part of Arizona, where smugglers use ropes to bring people over the border wall and run into the U.S. undetected. These individuals are known as gotaways, as you see in our video there. The hearing will be led by Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman from Wisconsin and Republican Congressman Andy Biggs from Arizona. Now, according to the lawmakers, the hearing will look into the ongoing humanitarian and national security crisis at the southern border and its impacts on American communities. It will feature the Cochise County Sheriff, a rancher living near the border, and also an immigration attorney. The hearing comes at a time when illegal crossings are back on the uptick post-Title 42. Human smuggling organizations have shifted their strategy and are now smuggling large groups of migrants through Arizona. The Tucson sector averaged more than 1,300 illegal crossings per day, with agents accounting nearly 40,000 migrants in July, making it the busiest sector on the southern border. And that's not even counting the individuals who got away. No House Democrats will be in attendance in today's hearing. This is the second hearing that House Republicans are hosting in the state of Arizona, with the first one coming back in Yuma, Arizona in February. Nick?
Jorge, thank you so much. Let's stay with the border and expand on those human smuggling assembly lines. It's a story exclusively on News Nation. Now, our cameras captured a so-called assembly line in action on the Mexico side of the border with Arizona. Our Allie Bradley is in Tempe with an exclusive look for us at how it all works.
I mean, that just shows you how organized and how specific the smuggling organization operates.
For one of the first times ever, News Nation has gotten a glimpse of what the smuggling operations look like from the Mexico side of the southern border wall. I sat crouched under the concertina wire on the U.S. side with my phone through the slats of the border wall, watching them send person after person over in Naco, Arizona. While I was there, a man and two women scaled the wall using that thick yellow rope you can see wrapped around them. They climb the ladder that the guide is standing on top of, and then the guy on the bottom lowers them down, kind of like a pulley system or like a rock climbing belay. As soon as one person hits the ladder, another emerges from the brush. It's all very methodical, just like an assembly line. I watched as the guides take the phones from the migrants and place them between the slats in the wall so that once they're over, they can grab it on the other side. Their phone is their lifeline. They need it to get to the pin drop where they'll be picked up. Now, once they make it over, they grab their phone, they start running, and they're listening to the prompts from the guide on top of the ladder, who is using binoculars and a radio, helping them navigate around Border Patrol agents.
They don't know what they're up against. And what's going to happen is they're going to get up to that wall, and the smugglers don't care what happens to them. That's where it becomes very dangerous.
I took an oath to defend, our country. Yet there's politicians in Washington that have handcuffed agents so badly that it seems like the only ones that are laughing about it, the only ones that are happy, it is the criminals. And I mean, that just, it's really demoralizing for every single person that's out there working and putting on the uniform.
The smugglers carefully wait until there's no agents around to send migrants over the wall. And when agents spot the smugglers on the other side, they can't arrest them because of safety concerns. All they can do is arrest migrants once they touch U.S. soil.
If they were to take some kind of action, whether it was, officer presence, a less lethal, area saturation with pepper spray and things like that, they are now creating a circumstance to where those migrants could fall off that wall and then injure themselves or kill themselves, and then they're left with this problem. So it really creates chaos, and the smugglers know that, so they're taking advantage of every opportunity.
You're putting your life at risk, and the individuals that are putting your life at risk, they're facing absolutely no consequences for it. I mean, it's very, very frustrating.
That was Allie Bradley reporting. Now, today, a federal jury in New York City is deliberating on the fate of an alleged MS-13 gang member. He's accused of ordering a hit on two teens. One of the teens was lured to a park in Queens where he was stabbed about 24 times in May of 2017. A birdwatcher found him dead in the woods, and he was nearly decapitated. The other teen was shot in the head in 2016 and left paralyzed. Melvi Amadoros, who is also going by the name of Pinky, is facing multiple charges, including murder. In New York City, building a new relief center for adult migrants who are seeking asylum. Mayor Eric Adams' office announced the project on Monday. Now, the Humanitarian Emergency Response and Relief Center will be located on Randall's Island between Manhattan and Queens. It's expected to accommodate up to 2,000 migrants. There are currently more than 57,000 asylum seekers in New York City's care. Some migrants in New York have tried to find shelter at the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown, but were forced to sleep outside when it hit capacity. Now, a pizza shop owner whose business is in the hotel was being blocked by the migrants. But instead of getting upset, he decided to help, as he was once in the country illegally, struggling to survive himself. Our Dre Clark joins us now live from New York with this story. Dre, this sounds like a story of I've been helped. I now want to help my brother.
Yeah, he's returning the favor. He's returning the good fortune that he received when he came to this country decades ago. You know, Nick, this time last week, the sidewalk here behind me was jam-packed here. This had really become a cement bed pad for so many migrants and asylum seekers who were lined up here desperately waiting to be placed inside city shelter. But one of the owners of Uncle Paul's Pizza, instead of getting upset about the crowded sidewalk, he decided to serve the migrants. He gave them food, pizza, and salad, because he says when he looks at them, he sees himself.
30 years ago, Dino Redzik was a refugee from the country formerly known as Yugoslavia. He entered the U.S. illegally with no money, but determined to achieve the American dream. Years later, he's now a legal citizen and a successful business owner. So when asylum seekers took shelter outside his pizzeria, there was no way he would turn his back on them.
We were entitled to anything. We just got an opportunity. And I believe that these people are here for the very same thing.
Dino's restaurant is attached to the Roosevelt Hotel, a 19-story building now being used as an intake center and shelter for migrant families. But last week, New York City, which by law is required to provide safe shelter for anyone who requests it, says it ran out of room, and what unfolded was days of migrants standing, sitting, or sleeping on the sidewalk.
You come in the morning, they're all sleeping here like sardines, and you couldn't get to your store. Clients couldn't get in.
Dino decided to serve the migrants pizza, and it was a rocky start.
I made about 10 pizza pies and went over and almost caused a riot. Everybody jumped on.
Soon, customers caught on to Dino's goodwill and started dropping off cash and checks, thanking him for helping. But Dino says what he really wants to do is hire the migrants. He has 18 open positions that New Yorkers don't seem to want. But migrants need work permits. New York City's mayor has asked the president to approve expedited work visas.
We need to allow people to work. There's nothing more anti-American than you can't work.
They're ready to work, they're willing to work, and they're not able to work.
Dino says the migrants don't want a handout. They want a hand up, just like he did 30 years ago.
They're not here to live off welfare or any public assistance. All they want is free air and rights to work.
And this isn't the first time that Dino has done this kind of thing, paying it back, that is. Back during the pandemic, he and his business partner decided to keep the pizza shop here open to serve first responders free pizza and free salads and drinks, because he understood they were out here risking their lives to make sure other people were also being served as well. So he's getting a lot of pats on the back here, Nick, for serving these migrants, who are many of them who are still waiting for placement. Only they're not outside, they're now inside waiting.
Well-deserved pats on the back there, Dre. Dre Clark live for us today in Manhattan. Dre, thank you. For the first time since the deadly suicide bombing outside the Kabul airport during the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the 13 Gold Star families testified on Capitol Hill. They described in detail the pain they felt and that they are going through. Our Joe Khalil watched their testimony and tells us why they're still looking for answers nearly 2 years later.
I feel I deserve real answers, real truths, real facts, and someone to be held accountable for the failures that occurred that took my son's life.
A call for accountability and a somber reminder of one of the darkest days in modern American memory. Family of the 13 American service members killed during the chaotic pullout from Afghanistan in August of 2021 spoke out today for the first time in a public congressional hearing, demanding more answers and grieving together.
He told me, Mom, I now know that the command cares nothing for us. My son, these 12 others left this earth thinking that their command cared nothing for them.
The 13 American service members, along with 170 Afghan civilians, were killed after an ISIS-K member detonated a suicide bomb just outside the Kabul airport. Today, the Gold Star families, like Christina Shamblin, mother of Sergeant Nicole Gee, were emotional and angry.
When our leaders, including the Secretary of Defense and our Commander-in-Chief, call this evacuation a success, as if there should be celebration, It is like a knife in the heart.
The families demanding more information on how the calls were made that led to the chaos in the first place, why the order was given to keep the gate near the airport open, knowing the possibility of an attack was probable. Some asked directly for the Biden administration to at least acknowledge mistakes were made.
I'm pissed off. I'm very, very angry.
Mark Schmitz, whose Marine son Jared was killed, couldn't attend the hearing, but says he and other families will continue to push Congress and the Biden administration for more information. He says the pain of his son Jared's loss is still fresh.
Of course, there's a lot of pain. It doesn't get any easier. There's a hole now that can't ever be filled.
That was Joe Khalil reporting for us. Well, the lack of air traffic control staff is leading to several U.S. airlines asking the FAA to extend cuts to minimum flight requirements. In March, the FAA agreed to Delta and United's request to give back as many as 10% of their slots at New York area airports and Washington National Airport through September 15th. But now they're asking to extend that through much of October. In a letter sent by Airlines for America, a trade group representing major carriers said the air traffic staffing levels have not meaningfully improved. Now, the FAA says it's in the final stages of review and will have a decision soon.
That back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not.
I'm sure you remember that video. It went viral. The American Airlines passenger who claimed one passenger on the flight wasn't real has been identified as Tiffany Gomez, a Dallas, Texas marketing executive. She told police the rant was sparked by an argument over wireless headphones. She was kicked off the plane following the outburst, which led to hours of delays for other passengers. But even though she repeatedly said she was, quote, getting off the effing plane, she refused to leave and had to be removed by staff. Live right now, police in Miami are investigating several dozen vehicles found submerged in a lake in Doral, Florida. This could be linked to cold cases of missing people. A news conference is starting right now. Let's listen in.
Our divers unit immediately contacted the other agencies, Doral Police Department and Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, so we can put this operation together in order to be able to recover all of the vehicles that are inside. This morning you saw that you had divers from Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and along with Miami-Dade police divers in here starting to pull out. They did pull out one vehicle. The first vehicle they pulled out is a 2002 Altima, and we just got word from the Doral Police Department that it is confirmed stolen vehicle. And these are the most likely the type of vehicles that we're going to find here dumped in this lake. Vehicles that perhaps have been abandoned and they wanted to get rid of them and they got rid of them here, or those that took them for a joyride, they were stolen and then they were dumped inside the lake. Of course, we're not going to discard the possibility of some type of fraud that could occur, and some type of foul plays like a homicide. And that's why we also had our homicide bureau. We had our detectives here present. They showed up because of the fact, and they're close by, they're only a phone call away. In the event we were to find something that, of course, links our homicide bureau or a death investigation that has to occur. Nothing that we have, no information that we have so far would lead us to believe that these cases are going to go and elevate to that level where our homicide bureau is going to have to get involved. But nonetheless, once the citizens told us that we have several dozen vehicles here, it is now our responsibility to be able to recover these vehicles, and let's see how many cases we can close. There's some, and like particularly the first one we got out, that's one stolen vehicle case that now does not remain open pending. And throughout the investigation, we don't know what they're going to find, that perhaps we can then find who the person is responsible for this. So it's important when the community, just another example, how when the community works together with the police department, things can get done. And in this particular case, this information was passed along, and now we're able to do something about it. The neighboring businesses here are being very cooperative with us, even though we're invading their space. They're being very cooperative because, again, they also want to be able to do their part and helping out. So we can't urge enough to the community that no matter how simple something may seem, please call Crime Stoppers 471-TIPS. give us that information, because no matter how small it may be, it could help us close cases, just like on this first vehicle that Doral now is going to be able to close one of their stolen vehicle cases.
The volunteer divers have said they counted some 30. Is the plan to remove all 30?
It's hard to know how many are out there, because I spoke to our divers earlier this morning before they went into the water, and they said they were here yesterday. And they know when they were here diving and they were putting the buoys up on cars and so forth, they think it's about 20. It's hard to say how many until they comb the whole surface and see how many they actually have. What they did confirm to me when they dove yesterday is that majority of the vehicles that are in there are very old vehicles, just like the one we just saw, leading us to believe that these vehicles were dumped in this lake probably way before these warehouses were even here. So that's how far back it goes. I don't know if this vehicle in 2002 was dumped in 2002, but clearly, as you can see, the state of the vehicle, this vehicle has been there for a while. So that's probably what we're thinking the condition of all of the vehicles we pull out are going to be in. Nonetheless, we can still read VINs, we can still run those cars. If they do have auto theft cases, stolen vehicle cases attached to them, we can close these cases now and not leave them open pending forever. Well, we have one right now, but over here to our right, you can see the buoys there. And just to our right alone, just by counting those buoys, I can very easily tell you that there's probably 5 buoys right there on that one spot. So it's hard to say, and that's what makes it difficult on these diving operations. Once they go underwater, the visibility is minimal.
You're listening right
and
now live to a representative from Miami-Dade Police talking about the recovery of vehicles from that lake there in Doral, Florida. He also gave a shout out to the community for being proactive and letting them know that a vehicle had been found there. He has since then said that search crews from both Miami Fire and police have been searching the lake for as many as what they believe could be as many as 20 different vehicles in that lake, but they don't know exactly how many. He says that many of the cars are probably just abandoned or stolen. They could be linked to foul play, but that has not been determined at this time. If something should be elevated to that is tied to a homicide, then homicide investigators will then take the lead. The car that was pulled from that lake that you saw in that video was found, and it is dated back to 2002. So he believes that those cars in the lake would be older, possibly before the warehouses were built in that area. We will continue to follow this story as breaking news. As more information becomes available, we will bring it to you live. We'll be right back with more news after the break.
Had enough? No, arthritis. Here, Aspercream arthritis. Huh. Full prescription strength. Reduces inflammation. Thank the gods.
Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Aspercream.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne. It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne. Ace this school year with A+ immune support.
Before and Bath Fitter. Now's the time to call Bath Fitter to get a beautiful after. With our unique tub-over-tub process, there's no mess or stress. Bath Fitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this, because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. Stop penalty fees, avoid liens, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call the tax relief helpers right now at 800-738-9329 and get the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
We save millions of dollars in tax debt every year, and we can help you. Call right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call 800-738-9329. 800-738-9329.
I had 8 UTIs in 1 year. This inspired me and my partner Spencer to launch Eucora. Eucora makes effective urinary tract health products.
It truly works miracles. The peace of mind I've been looking for.
Go to eucora.com to learn more.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Richards from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and this is my husband, Mauricio Umansky.
Nearly every person that comes into our home comments about how amazing it smells, all thanks to Aroma 360 scent diffusers.
Their luxury fragrances are safe for kids and pets. Aroma 360 turned my beautiful home into a calming space to relax. I especially love their Mini 360 scent diffuser. Seriously, you guys, you need this now. Turn your home into a happy one.
It smells good too.
You can't count on the weather, but you can count on Dish and our reliability guarantee. Should you ever lose signal, contact us and we'll credit back your account.
Hey, Dylan, I want your dad to go out and help you practice your sliding.
The reliability guarantee from Dish.
Febreze. Your bathroom needs Febreze small spaces. The always-on odor-fighting air freshener you set and forget. No outlets used, no batteries needed, no effort required. So your bathroom stays continuously fresh for 45 days. That's the power of Febreze small spaces.
Welcome back to News Nation Live. A woman is in custody after allegedly plotting to kill the president of Ukraine. Her name has not yet been released. She was allegedly passing information to Russian forces regarding President Volodymyr Zelensky's locations and planning to share that information with Russia for a massive airstrike in the region. I want to bring in Dr. John Schindler, a former NSA official, to talk more about this and what this means overall. Dr. Schindler, thank you so much for being here. What can you tell us about the security threats that President Zelensky faces since this Russian invasion?
Thanks for having me. It's very serious. The Russian intelligence services have plotted to kill President Zelensky multiple times. Ukrainian intelligence says up to 20 plots. We don't know much about them. The current plot is very concerning because it appears quite serious. In fact, in Russia, there's been a lot of criticism of Putin, President Putin, for not assassinating President Zelensky, strangely enough. And this appears to be a Russian attempt by Russian military intelligence to do this. They brought in a Ukrainian woman who had previously worked at a Ukrainian military base, and she was collecting intelligence to give to Moscow to basically frame an airstrike when President Zelensky was going to visit Mykolaiv, which is a city in the south, near the front, near Odessa. And they were going to kill Zelensky, apparently. And this appears to be very good intelligence work by Ukrainian intelligence, the SBU, which is that country's domestic intelligence service, to save the president's life.
And Dr. Schindler, you can only imagine how important it is for President Zelensky to have really tight security and a close circle of people who really know where he is at all times or don't know. And I'm assuming that even those people you have to trust, they're not casually sharing it with a spouse or loved one. How does Ukraine go about finding about these potential threats?
Well, it appears that the SBU, Ukrainian intelligence, was listening in on the Russian agent woman's communications, presumably her phone calls, texts, whatever, and they were well aware of this long before anything was going to happen. As the U.S. military would say, this was stopped well left of any boom. That's the good news. And you certainly have to wonder if perhaps Ukraine's intelligence friends in NATO had something to do with this as well. That's very possible. It is very difficult for President Zelensky because he must maintain a very high public profile. That's integral to Ukraine's, frankly, propaganda strategy to maintain Western support. But there's always the risk of assassination or targeted killing, basically, as was stopped here.
Dr. Schindler, that was definitely my next question. Is it necessary for President Zelensky to maintain that public profile? We've seen him appear, here in the United States. We've seen him speak to other world leaders. In fact, I think we can agree that we see him much more than we see Putin make public appearances. Yeah. And we see Zelensky, in his camo and in his fatigues, and he's very there and he's very present, almost as if it's a middle finger to Russia.
Yeah, I mean, look, the propaganda strategy, propaganda is not a bad word. Ukraine is a country under attack. Their propaganda strategy is heavily focused on President Zelensky himself as sort of this Churchillian symbol of Ukraine's resistance, which I think works very well, frankly, for Ukraine on the whole. There's always a downside to that. What happens if President Zelensky is in fact assassinated? That would be an utter catastrophe. But in the main, this works very well, but it is very risky because his public image is, as the face of resistance, he has to visit the front. He has to be close to combat as much as possible. But the Russians are trying to kill him. Let's be very clear about this. I mean, it would be an enormous propaganda coup for Russia to even come close to killing President Zelensky, which is why this intelligence fight is so important and why NATO countries, including the U.S., so strongly support Ukraine in all this, literally to save the president's life.
I remember at the start of this war, there was conversation about how he should have fled Ukraine, but he made it clear in the beginning he wasn't going anywhere. In fact, he was staying steadfast.
Yes, I mean, as you said, I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. I mean, he has made, this is his brand, whether you love him or hate him, and most of the West loves him more than hates him. Zelensky has made this the core part of his identity, I think very successfully on the whole. I think Ukrainian messaging sometimes goes a little bit off the rails on the margins, but the essential message, I am the resistance, is very effective in the West. There's no getting around it, which is why Russia wants to kill him. Let's be very blunt about it.
Dr. Schindler, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Next, why doctors are saying diet and exercise might not be enough for people struggling with obesity. We'll talk about the super diet drugs when we come back after the break.
Former Vice President Mike Pence on Balance tonight.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
I didn't even know how I was going to buy food for my kids.
I picked up the phone and called National Debt Relief. They were my savior.
National Debt Relief can significantly reduce the amount you owe.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $20,000.
Now that I'm out of debt, I feel great. I'm taking a trip to Puerto Rico.
I'm thriving. Our family's thriving.
Call or visit nationaldebtrelief.com to get started.
My mental health was much better, but I struggled with uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia. TD can be caused by some mental health meds.
And it's unlikely to improve without treatment. I felt like my movements were in the spotlight.
Ingrezza is a prescription medicine to treat adults with TD movements. Ingrezza is different. It's the simple, once-daily treatment proven to reduce TD that's #1 prescribed. People taking Ingrezza can stay on their current dose of most mental health meds. Ingrezza 80 milligram is proven to reduce TD movements in 7 out of 10 people. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects, including sleepiness. Don't drive, operate heavy machinery, or do other dangerous activities until you know how Ingrezza affects you. Other serious side effects include potential heart rhythm problems and abnormal movements.
It's nice. People focus more on me.
Ask your doctor about #1 prescribed once daily Ingrezza. Learn how you could pay as little as $0 at Ingrezza.com.
I'm gonna sell my life insurance because I don't need it anymore.
My kids are grown, my wife is great, let's settle up the score.
It's time to travel to Paris. Spend retirement happy. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 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 And sell your policy. You can sell all or part. Live your life, play it smart. 877-SELL-EASY and sell your policy.
If you've had a change in health or you're over 65 and paying for $100,000 or more in a life insurance policy you don't need, get paid for it instead.
Take the money that you get. Gonna live it up, you bet. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 877-SELL-EASY. 877-SELL-EASY and sell your policy.
After 50, sore joints, they can slow us down. I'm not ready for that. I found a secret to turn back the clock on my stiff, achy joints by years without products that just temporarily hide my symptoms and may have scary side effects. My secret? Instaflex Advanced.
Get a complimentary sample just by texting BUS to 321-321.
Instaflex Advanced targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness with a unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found nowhere else. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, I had better knees in just 1 week. You gotta try it.
Instaflex Advanced is the #1 selling joint brand at GNC, but you can only get your complimentary sample by texting BUS to 321-321. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream for fast-acting relief in the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles absolutely free. Text BUS to 321-321 today.
Welcome back. We have breaking news centered on the 2024 GOP race for the nomination. More staff shakeups within the DeSantis team. The team for Florida governor and Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis announced this morning they have replaced the campaign manager. It's the latest and biggest shakeup among the team. This comes just 2 weeks after we previously reported that several other staffers were laid off. I'll be speaking to News Nation's D.C. Bureau Chief Mike Vaquera to talk about all of this at the top of the hour. Are weight loss drugs worth it? Are those weight loss drugs worth it? We're taking a deep dive into that, looking into the cost, the possible side effects, and more. News Nation correspondent Kelly Beeson has the story.
I discovered the potential with Ozempic.
It sparked a weight loss craze. Medications like Ozempic and Wegovy touted for their ability to help users achieve dramatic weight loss. Once curvy, people getting thin, and thin people getting thinner. So News Nation asked the question, does it work? Is it a cure-all? That metaphorical magic pill? Yes, say doctors we spoke to, adding that people suffering from obesity need it.
For someone who's really struggled to lose weight, for an individual with obesity, diet and exercise alone are not likely to be sufficient enough. And that is a that is a misunderstanding that has been present in this field for far too long. That the view that obesity is a matter of willpower is simply false.
And changing the perception of obesity has drastically impacted the sale of weight loss drugs in the country. Semaglutide, medications like Wegovy and Ozempic are flying off the shelves, causing nationwide shortages. But with the uptick in use comes some serious claims.
Common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation.
And those side effects can be extreme. On News Nation's Cuomo, we spoke with a woman who says she lost weight and a whole lot more as a result of Ozempic. Multiple hospitalizations, uncontrollable vomiting, stomach paralysis. Just some of the side effects she's still experiencing.
I am currently taking many medications to try to speed up my motility of my stomach. I take nausea medications on a daily basis. My vomiting has slowed down a little bit recently, but it's still a problem. So when I say slow down a little bit, some days I vomit 5 or 6 times a day instead of 20 times a day. But each day comes with its own challenges and new symptoms.
And she's not alone. According to the FDA, there have been some reports of stomach paralysis. And that's not all. Claims of suicide ideation out of Europe have some wondering if the benefits outweigh the risks.
We know it's working on the brain. So for every positive, effect you have, you're going to probably have a negative effect.
I mean, the reality is that depression, mood disorders, and even suicidal ideation are not uncommon in someone who's on a medication or not. So what we don't know yet is whether this is a direct effect from the medication.
Weight loss medications like Wegovy require a long-term commitment because once you stop, most people can gain the weight back.
The average patient, once they stop these medications, will regain 2/3 of the weight within a year, and we see this every day.
And that means an annual commitment of $17,000, as most insurance companies opt out of covering the weight loss medication at a whopping $1,400 a month, leaving many people who need it unable to get it.
Obesity is a chronic, progressive, and relapsing condition. That's the reality. Cost seems to be the biggest barrier at this time, cost and availability. We have these effective treatments, yet most patients can't obtain them.
That was News Nation correspondent Kelly Beeson reporting. Joining me now to talk more about this is Dr. Matt Shoemaker, Division Director of the Infectious Disease Department at the University of Kansas Health System. Dr. Shoemaker, thank you so much. Dr. Shoemaker, in your opinion, I want to talk about Kelly's report there. In your opinion, are weight loss drugs worth it?
I guess I would have to come at that from an infectious disease standpoint, since that's what I do day in and day out. If you're looking at it from controlling diabetes, I think it's probably worth it. We know long-term effects of diabetes reduce people's quality of life as well as their life expectancy. And those patients with uncontrolled diabetes have increased risk of infection. Now, based on what Kelly reported with regards to weight loss, I think this is something that we probably need to think about putting a pause on and maybe getting more data from some robust randomized clinical trials.
As Kelly also reported, officials in the European Union are looking into claims that Ozempic can increase suicidal thoughts in patients. And what do you say to patients on the fence about this treatment? Should they wait until more research is done, like you just suggested?
Yeah, I think they should wait until some more research is done and have, a candid conversation with their healthcare provider, especially if they have any underlying mental illness or family history of mental illness, because we know in the United States, mental illness is a large problem that we're trying to tackle.
Dr. Shoemaker, another topic that seems to really be hitting Americans hard is the use of opioids. A majority of drug overdose deaths involve opioids, but a new study shows that treatments remain significantly underused. And the CDC says that more than 80,000 people died from an opioid overdose in 2021. However, according to research published in the Journal of American Medicine, a network that only about 1 in 5 adults receive medications to treat opioid use. Now, various drugs have been approved by the FDA to treat the condition, but what is the disconnect that people are still craving these drugs but aren't actually getting them and following through with treatment?
I think there are a couple things that limits people's ability to access these medications. One is where you live. There are only about 2,000 treatment centers in the United States. Most of those are situated in large metropolitan areas because they have, more patients that they can take care of, which is good. The downside is if you live in a rural area, you may have to drive a couple hours to get there. And for a lot of these medications, you need to take them every day. There are federal regulations regarding how they can be dispensed. They have to be dispensed in a licensed accredited opioid treatment center. And the patient has to be supervised taking the medication. So for somebody that lives 100 or more miles away, the logistics and the cost of being able to get there for the medication are just something they can't overcome.
Dr. Shoemaker, I had no idea that was also a variable until you just told me that, and it totally makes sense. If I'm living in a rural community, it can be difficult for me to get access to the medication, and I had no idea it had to be supervised in order to take it. So how can people advocate for doctors to prescribe more of these treatments if they don't have facilities near where they live?
I think, this is something that's being discussed in Washington, D.C. Right now in Congress. I think some of the legislation has been stalled, but I think, patients can advocate for themselves by reaching out to their local congressperson and making sure that they're aware of the problem.
Dr. Shoemaker, thank you so much for joining us.
The other thing, from my standpoint is...
No, go ahead, finish that. I'm sorry, we had a little bit of a delay. What were you saying? From an infectious disease standpoint, one of the leading infections transmitted through injection drug use is hepatitis C. Additionally, we do see hepatitis B as well as HIV. If we can get patients on these medicines and get them off of the opioids, particularly in the setting where they're injecting them, we can decrease the risk of these infections being transmitted. Dr. Shoemaker, thanks again for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your insight.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Next, how a woman is fighting for justice after she was wrongly arrested because of facial recognition technology. We'll share her story after the break.
What's the Subway series? It's the perfect sub roster. Just give us a number, we got the rest. 4. Supreme Meats. 6. The Boss. 15. Titan Turkey. 99. Grand Slam Ham. I'm gonna need 23 of those. It's my turn to bring the snacks.
Upon his first day of retirement, Marcus Rogers made a contract with himself. I will never again work for another man or woman. Or Todd. Especially Todd. I lay down my badge, abandon my corporate phone plan, and I'll get a new plan with Consumer Cellular, without a contract, without sacrificing coverage.
Let's go, birds.
When freedom calls, we're here to answer.
Attention firefighters, first responders, military base personnel, and airport workers. Listen closely to this important legal announcement. Have you been exposed to chemical-based firefighting foam? If so, you may be entitled to a substantial cash award without going to court. For decades, aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, has been used to extinguish liquid fuel fires. A scientific study has now shown that the chemicals used to make AFFF are highly toxic to humans and can cause a significant risk of developing several types of cancer, including kidney, pancreatic, thyroid, prostate, bladder, testicular, liver, or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. If you or a loved one are a firefighter, first responder, airport worker, or member of the military that has used firefighting foam and has been diagnosed with cancer, please call the Negligence Network to file your claim today. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call the Negligence Network to see if you're eligible for substantial compensation. Call 1-800-500-1636. That's 1-800-500-1636.
There are more ways than ever for identity thieves to steal your information. LifeLock alerts you and works to fix problems with a dedicated restoration specialist. Go to lifelock.com.
At ADP, we understand business today looks nothing like it did yesterday. While it's more unpredictable, its possibilities are endless. From paying your people from anywhere to supporting your talent everywhere. We use data-driven insights to design HR solutions and services to help businesses of all sizes work smarter today so they can have more success tomorrow.
Tonight on News Nation, the latest on the alleged sexual predator caught after a woman escaped from a cinder block cell in his garage. We're live on the ground in Portland, Oregon, as police now look for more victims linked to this house of horrors. Tonight, 10/9 Central on Banfield.
Well, the dangers of facial recognition technology are coming to light in a new lawsuit. A Detroit woman is suing the city and a police detective after she says she was wrongfully arrested because of the technology. All of this while she was 8 months pregnant. Portia Woodruff is her name, and she says officers accused her of robbery and carjacking. Police reportedly used surveillance video and facial recognition software to link Woodruff to the crime. The charges were later dismissed. Her lawsuit says she was arrested despite there never being a mention that the suspect was pregnant in the police report. Woodruff is the first woman known to be wrongfully accused of a crime using facial technology. Joining me now to break all of this down is trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Maris. Misty, let's talk about the pitfalls of facial recognition technology and why it's so dangerous.
The pitfalls of facial recognition technology have been articulated in many different ways. First, the ACLU has brought lawsuits saying that this type of technology violates privacy concerns, that it has a disparate impact on communities of color, and that there is always the possibility that it is not as reliable as it seems. So the general rule, and this is nationwide in most jurisdictions that use the technology, is that probable cause to arrest someone cannot be established based on facial recognition alone. It has to be looked at in accordance with other evidence in order to move forward with an arrest that is valid. So that's the argument that we're seeing here with this woman in Detroit. And by the way, just to note, there are 3 other cases that have been filed with similar circumstances against the Detroit Police Department specifically, many of these working their way through the court system. So as this new technology continues to be used in investigative phase, it's also going to face these legal challenges to help us understand how it can be better, more accurate, and less detrimental to the community.
And Mr., you would also assume that common sense would be used when you see a woman is pregnant and that wasn't mentioned in the report, that possibly that could weed her out of your possible list of suspects. How can this technology actually be helpful?
So what the technology is actually made for is when there is somebody who's a suspect, usually in a robbery, a home invasion, something to that extent, a burglary, that is caught on video when someone's entering or exiting that location. The visual technology can be used to identify a specific person as a suspect. And I say that it's very specific, as a suspect. It does not mean that there's actually the probable cause necessary to arrest that person. It just gives investigators a lead. That's the benefit. And then the investigation continues from there until the standard of probable cause is met. So to your point, this woman being pregnant, that's going to be a factor that will weigh heavily in her favor in the course of this lawsuit, because the department is going to have to establish that there were other reasons, despite the facial recognition technology, to actually move forward with the arrest. So it's a very complicated, fact-specific legal argument.
Now, Misty, according to the report, the prosecutor's office said the warrant that led to Woodruff's arrest was on solid ground. As an attorney, do you think Woodruff still has a case for her lawsuit?
Certainly. It's all going to be questions of fact for a jury to decide. So facts in her favor, as we spoke about, the fact that she was pregnant, that there was no mention of a pregnant woman in that police report. On the other side, reports indicate that she was identified, her photo, by the victim in a lineup. So all of those facts are going to be hashed out. And again, what the police need to establish is that there was probable cause for the arrest at the time. That's the defense you just stated. That doesn't mean that she's necessarily found guilty, just that the information that they had to get that warrant was valid at the time. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch, because it's going to help shape the law surrounding the use of this facial recognition technology, which, of course, you know, as we cover this all the time. The law takes a little bit of time to catch up to the tech. So the courts are now going to be shaping that law, and when investigators can rely on it and how heavily they can weigh that when looking to arrest an individual and to go out and get that warrant.
Which, Misty, leads me to my last question for you before I run out of time. In about 30 seconds, as an attorney, what are your recommendations for agencies going forward who plan to use this facial recognition technology in any capacity?
It's a great question for state agencies like police departments. You have to make sure that there are regulations on the books about how to use this technology to ensure that that leap isn't made. The facial recognition technology is the end of the day. Technology is amazing. The innovation, it's so helpful, especially in law enforcement. We're always talking about the electronic footprint, but that doesn't mean that the human component of it and the review of that to ensure its accuracy and to ensure its viability, that still needs to exist. So get those regulations on the books and make sure everybody is trained appropriately at the agency in order to use this as a positive, as opposed to something that seriously violates human rights.
Misty Maris, it can be used as a tool and a piece of a puzzle, but not to solve the entire puzzle. Misty Maris, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
There's a wild story out of Alabama we're following at the top of the hour. We'll bring it to you as soon as we come back.
Family is just very important.
She's my sister, and we depend on each other a lot.
She's the rock of the family. She's the person who holds everything together.
It's a battle, you know, I'm gonna be there.
Keytruda and chemotherapy, been treating my cancer with 2 different types of medicine.
In a clinical trial, Keytruda and chemotherapy was proven to help people live longer than chemotherapy alone. Keytruda is used to treat more patients with advanced lung cancer than any other immunotherapy. Keytruda may be used with certain chemotherapies as your first treatment if you have advanced non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer and you do not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems. If you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, receive chest radiation, or have a nervous system problem.
It feels good to be here for them.
Living longer is possible. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. Ask your doctor about Keytruda.
Subway refreshed everything, and now they're slicing the meats fresh. That's why this Pro prefers the new Grand Slam ham.
So does this Pro. I just love a Grand Slam ham.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too. I knew he'd love that sandwich.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
National Debt Relief can significantly reduce the amount you owe.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
Call or visit nationaldebtrelief.com to get started.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne.
It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne, ace this school year with A+ immune support.
If you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints 10, even 20 years. Imagine you could do this without products that just temporarily hide the symptoms and may have side effects. Imagine no more. Introducing Instaflex Advanced. Get a complimentary sample just by texting DEEP to 231231. Instaflex Advanced is different because it targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms. Instead, it bathes your joints in its unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, you could have better knees in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's the #1 selling joint brand at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary sample by texting DEEP to 231231. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream with its exclusive oxygenated oil for fast-acting relief from the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles, absolutely free. Text DEEP to 231231.
We're following breaking news at the top of the hour in the race for the White House. The latest shakeup on the Ron DeSantis campaign is next. Stay with us.
This is an important message for anyone and everyone on or eligible for Medicare. If Medicare is important to you, then you need to hear this message because Medicare benefits matter to millions of Americans. Did you know Medicare has different parts, including Medicare Part A and Part B, often called Original Medicare? And then there's Medicare Part C, representing Medicare Advantage plans, and Part D for prescription drug coverage. Call 800-218-5045 now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. We can look up your plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits, or if your income qualifies you to reduce costs on your prescription medications. Did you know there are different enrollment periods, like the Medicare annual enrollment period, when beneficiaries can enroll in or change coverage? But there are also certain conditions or qualifications that may allow you to qualify for a special enrollment period any time of the year. So call the number on your screen now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. This is a free service that you can call at absolutely no cost to you.
I'm on Medicare. I called to see if my income qualified for a lower prescription medication cost. The friendly agent was very knowledgeable, and I found out that I qualified for a special enrollment period. I'm so glad that I called.
We can look up your plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits. We can also check to see if your income qualifies you to reduce the cost of your prescription medications. And we can even tell you if you qualify for a special enrollment period. It's your free Medicare coverage checkup at absolutely no cost to you. Just call 800-218-5045 and you can speak with a licensed agent who can check up on your plan and answer your questions. The Medicare Benefits and Questions line is open, and anyone on or eligible for Medicare can call. The call and Medicare coverage checkup is free with no obligation. Call now. We love talking to people with Medicare, and the call is free. Just call 800-218-5045. 800-218-5045.
Did you know you can save with GoodRx, even if you have insurance?
You know, I thought my prescription was covered until it wasn't, but GoodRx helps with that.
I work for myself, so I buy my own insurance. And I still check GoodRx.
I'm on Medicare. I check GoodRx because it can beat my copay. Who wouldn't like that?
Even if you have insurance, GoodRx can help you save.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Another good reason to check GoodRx.
I'm gonna sell my life insurance 'cause I don't need it anymore.
My kids are grown, my wife is great, let's settle up the score.
It's time to travel to Paris.
Spend retirement happy. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 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 And sell your policy. You can sell all or part. Live your life, play it smart. 877-SELL-EASY. And sell your policy.
If you've had a change in health, or you're over 65, and paying for $100,000 or more in a life insurance policy you don't need, get paid for it instead.
Take the money that you get, gonna live it up, you bet. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 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 And sell your